Welcome to another episode of Badass Banking. And today I've got Tom Shen. And Tom, this is a real treat for me. You're the former chief monkey. I don't understand what the hell that means at Malazai. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Great to be on the show, Brad. Thanks for inviting me.
So you're in Calabasas and the smoke is not too bad for you. The fires are farther north for a change. It's a refreshing change for you, I take it.
Yes, we're not in the line of fire, as it were.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I know it's rough up there, up in the north, in the Pacific North. So tell me what you're up to these days. I mean, I see you everywhere. You know, we're connected on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all that crap. You know, you've got, board member, advisory member all over your LinkedIn now. Tell me about some of the things you're doing.
Yeah. So we had a fantastic exit with Finastra at Malazai in June of 2018. It was the right landing spot. It was right home for the asset. So fantastic transaction. And I work with Finastra CEO Simon Paris, great guy to work with, and agreed to just hang around and do a little bit of advisory work for him. And so he was kind enough to extend that a couple times. So I actually did about 18 months worth of work helping Finastra with their North American business. But separate from that, I've looked at probably somewhere around 30, 35 fintechs to invest in, to work with, to partner with. And to that end, I'm involved with 4 different fintechs, either as an investment and or as a board member. And I've joined a couple of venture firms to be LPs. So that's really what I've been doing. And even with that, I'm some days it's just boring as hell.
Yeah. So are you referring to semi-retirement is boring, or all the advisory work is boring? Because there's nothing boring about advisory work.
Yeah. So as you may know, this is sort of my 3rd attempt at retirement, right? After I sold Software Dynamics and after Digital Insight. So I don't do retirement well.
Yeah.
And I get bored easily. I love strategy, but I love operating as well. Building a team and leading a team, and it's just so much fun for me. So I miss that part of it, right? So board work, advisory work, sort of you're pointing, directing, it's a little bit different. So I miss that sort of just holding hands or holding someone's throat in the trench, right? So I miss that a little bit.
Yeah, I myself, I don't miss some of that. I don't miss some of the politics of it and some of the day in, day out stuff. But, I don't miss the HR aspect.
Yeah.
I'm all about management by objective. I enjoy the strategic side, pointing people in the direction. So for me, and where I am in my life right now, I'm sticking to, advisory stuff. And I got a nonprofit that I chair, and that's unfortunately very hands-on, but it's a lot of fun. So let's get into some specifics. Talk about a couple of the specific organizations that you're on the board of.
Okay. The ones that take quite a bit of my time is a Series B company up in Toronto by the name of Sensibill.
Yep.
Sensibill, right. And it's led by Corey Gross, CEO. Very fine young man. I love working with them. All the right qualities, right? Innovative, humble, cares about customers. Want to do well by doing good. So the company is founded based on this idea that as we collect skewed data from customers' receipts, we can gain insight into that to both help the consumer or the small business owner and help the financial institution help them become better customers, right? So launched a fantastic product of receipt management. And to that end, we have about 100 logos, the brightest of which is Chase. We have launched to the 38 million consumers at Chase, capturing receipts every day. And here in North America, we also have partnerships with FIS, NCR Digital Insight, and we're about to launch with Q2. So a bright shining star, as well as a very nice distribution system.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like, it sounds like you're helping the banks and the credit unions engage more relevantly. It's all about contextual. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I love that. I'll have to research that on my own. How about any others?
Well, I'm also involved in a company just as an investor up in Michigan, Larkey, L-A-R-K-Y.
Oh yeah, yeah, know
right?
him well. Yeah.
Greg, the Hammer Hammerman, love him as well. Great leader, good listener, and so invested along with a couple of my buddies in the latest round with him. They're seeing success in the marketplace. Right. It's really sort of GPS location-based marketing, right? Again, bring relevancy to digital, right? The way I think about it is I'm sitting here talking with you, and a text message comes up and it says, "Hey, Tom, we can get you this." Well, that's not relevant to me right now.
Yeah.
But if I'm standing on the corner of First and Main, and there's Joe's Coffee Shop there, and you say, "Hey, come on in for a free cup of coffee," I just might do that, right? So that makes a lot of sense to me, right?
Yeah.
So involved in that. I'm also involved in a company up in Boston by name of Z Suite.
They're an interesting one.
Right. So their story is very similar to my old friend Chip Mahan's story, right? Is, you run a bank and you want to deliver some kind of a digital service. You can't find the right product set. So guess what? I'm going to build it on my own. It's going to be so good. I'm going to sell it to all the other banks, right? And so that's exactly what they did. Basically, Z Suite at a very high level is a deposit gathering platform, and it takes in the form of helping multi-tenant properties. So collect rent. So it's got two products right now, Z Deposit and Z Rent. It helps collect rent. It helps manage security deposit, right, on behalf of owners. We're expanding that out very quickly. We signed 4 new customers during this COVID-19 period, and we'll extend that out to not just only hold security deposit, but hold on behalf of others, which is none other than escrow. So we're bidding out escrow accounts. You're right. Our chairman, Jay Tooley, is also the president of Leader Bank, of which Z Suite spun out of. And our good friend Nathan, we brought Nathan in to be CEO, and we recruited Aaron to be our CTO. So very, very exciting opportunity there. In fact, just had a board meeting. Of course, it sucks a little bit to live on the West Coast, right? I got all these 6 a.m. for me, 9 a.m. for them meetings. And just had a quick monthly board call this week and with Z Suite, and just making very, very good progress.
They probably do that intentionally so you don't push them too hard at 6 a.m.
That's right. That's right.
You're still sleeping. Although myself, I'd be angry at 6 a.m. So I could work against them. Yeah, Z Suites, I'm tracking them pretty closely. I've talked to Nathan a couple of times, and Aaron's kept me in the loop. I think they're going to do very well.
Yeah.
Any others you're actively involved with, or how about investing? Anything you're looking for specifically, or?
Yeah. So it's interesting, right? This COVID-19 thing, is just creating a lot of confusion in the marketplace and creating unprecedented opportunities, right? I tend to look on that bright side of it, right? There's great opportunities. So what I'm seeing out there in investments is this, sort of a bifurcated market, right? On the top side, there's this rush to quality, a flight to quality, a mad dash to quality. So you see these incredible valuations, right? Look at Optimal Blue with Black Knight, right? My goodness, right? And so on and so forth, and quite a number of other properties on the move right now with fantastic valuations. So arguably valuations actually gone up now.
Yeah, it defies logic, doesn't it?
That's right. That's right. But there is such a dearth of good property, okay, and lots of money chasing after it, right? Yeah. But the flip side is this: if you don't have such a good product, not in such a good marketplace, it used to be you can still get a decent value. You're not going to get 7, 8, 10. You're not going to get great valuation. You get a decent valuation. Well, that money's dried up.
Yeah.
Right? People are scared, right? What is going to happen to the business, in the new norm, the next norm, whatever you want to call it. So there is that. Now, what do I like? So I get involved in pre-A. I get involved in A. What I really like out in the marketplace are shining objects. Are shining objects that are quick to install, right? Lightweight installations brings the financial institution quick wins.
Yeah.
Right? Something that can be installed in 30 days. You can see results in 90 days that's priced for success, right? I charge you a small amount of money to get in, and you pay me as you achieve results, success-based, right? Very low risk for the financial institution. Financial institutions are willing to take that kind of risk. So I feel like a digital platform, for example, to pick on an easy one, digital platforms really have plateaued, right? There's so many Me Too's and lookalikes and all the basic are there. Now it's the shining objects, right? So Larky is a great example. It's a shining object. It's a quick competitive differentiator. You can get it installed, lightweight installation. You get installed. It's got a dashboard. You can block off a GPS location. First and Main Street. Somebody loiters there for 15 minutes. I'm going to put up a message, right? And you get paid on wins, right? Yep. If you don't get response, if it doesn't work, no harm, no foul, right? We move on.
And not a lot of heavy lifting with the core. That's probably that's a major component there for these quick wins, because nothing's quick when it comes to the cores.
Well, you've been around a long time, Brian, so you know that. I'm not calling you old, but when I say lightweight install, I mean no core integration, right? Or very, very light core integration.
I feel the same way, and that's been my strategy as well. I'm very, very wary of anything that requires a lot of integration with a core. There's the cost factor, the time factor, and then there's the political factor of it as well.
Right. And then the other thing I kind of look at, right, is I look at sort of founders, are they good listeners? Are they humble? Do they really care? And when you meet folks like that, it's just so much fun to work alongside with them and try to scale a business, from 5 to 50, 90 to 200, right? Those are just and you've been through it yourself. It's just such a joy to be able to just see those spurts of growth, right? Yeah. And when it gets to 400 or 500, it gets less fun for me.
Yeah. That passion early on is contagious, and that motivates everybody. It propels them forward because they're proactively looking to solve a problem while build a proof of concept that's tangible and measurable. So I completely drink that same Kool-Aid. So what's your prognosis overall for retail banking? You and I have been around the block. Again, you didn't call me old. I'm not calling you old. I've been in this since the 80s, dude, and it's frustrating that it takes so long for this big ship we call FinServe to, come about. But I feel like, along with COVID kind of giving it a kick in the ass, I feel like some change is happening.
Right. Well, I think the two really important aspects of what we're trying to do to help financial institutions compete and win, right? That's what I've done my entire career, is help financial institutions, banks, and credit unions be more relevant in consumer lives. And arguably today is even more important, right? They're gaining importance rather than less importance, right? Look what happened with PPP, for example, right? Who stepped up to really help? right? Where some large money center banks fail their customers. Your local community banks actually stepped up.
Yeah.
I'm so proud, of these customers of mine that stepped up to help people who are really in need. So what do we need to continue to do to propel forward in digitalization? And both of these are going to be just, so obvious, right? The first one is personalization, right? We need to continue to move down that personalization path, right? Is to continue to know our customers better in a way that is not creepy.
Yeah.
Right? And there's such a fine line, right? And it's almost wrong now even to say, generational differences, but there are.
Yep.
Zs are different than Xers, for example, and then old guys like us, or guys and gals like us. So that notion of knowing your customer, but to understand that and to understand personalization, that creepiness factor, where does it sit with consumers? It is, in my opinion, more and more necessary in today's digital world, right? It's almost a crime not to know your customers better, right? And so, just to tout a company I've involved with Sensibill, is to look at SKU data, okay, but to do good with it.
Yep.
Right? To do good with it, not to do harm with it, right? How do we take that data to know that you're buying a crib and it's a blue crib? What does that mean? How can I help you at that stage of life, right? Rather than try to maybe sell you something else. But how do we help by greater personalization? I think the personalization, the second part, is taking down to channels, right? Is that, this whole idea of omni-channel and all channels are the same. Look, channels are not all the same, right? Like we pounded this enough. I'm an old guy. I have iPhone, I have tablet, I have desktop, and on, right? I do different things with different ones. And my tried and true example, and I use this incessantly, no one solved this problem yet, and I'll pick on one of my former favorite targets, which is airlines, right? We don't fly anymore, but when we used to fly, right? I'm whatever diamond with Delta, right? And I use my iPhone to check in, right? Because it's easiest, or find out what happened to my flight. That's the use case. I use a tablet to buy tickets because it's the easiest for me, in a larger format because I'm old, my eyes ain't so good. But I have all my payments instruments on there, and kaboom, in less than a minute, I'll pick the flight I want because I'm gonna fly Delta anyhow, okay? And that's what I use it for. And on my desktop, why do I ever go to delta.com? Well, because I want to mess around with my frequent flyer program. There's no other reason I want to do that. Something happened with my frequent flyer program. I need to go check something or pull out a reward, right? But every time I sign on delta.com, it thinks I want to check in for a flight. It thinks I want to buy a ticket. Why does it do that? Why doesn't it know the day, I have this line, the day that delta.com, when I log in, it says, what do you want to do with your with Sky Miles? Yeah. I'd be so impressed. I'd fall off my chair impressed. But that kind of personalization by channel is where we need to get to. I believe we're on the way there. And this crisis, this pandemic is driving us in that direction.
I agree. And I'm the same way. I pick a channel based upon how much sense of control I get from that channel. So when I book an airline, I got to be on the laptop, because I feel like I have control. I can shop for the better deal that way. I can make sure that I'm getting the best deal on American because I'm an American frequent flyer. But when it comes to check-in, only way to do it's, the iPhone, right? So yeah, I agree 100% with you. So one last question. Any advice you would give a fintech, official or unofficial advice? I know in one of your notes to me, you said, I would suggest that fintechs partner with other fintechs. That's something you don't see a lot of. Why don't you talk for a moment about that?
Yeah. So, if you look at my career, I've always believed in a bifurcated sales strategy of going direct to large customers and go through distribution channels, go through partners. Yep. And so I think it's important. You know, when we'll pick out Sensible again. When you look at Sensible, we got 100 logos. I'd say roughly 80 are from partnerships, another 20 that are direct. I mean, how many chases are there, right? How many HSBCs are there? How many RBSs are there out there? So those are great logos to win, and you need to serve them directly because they need a particular kind of white glove care, right? But then you have partners, right? And you've got partners such as cores, and I know, you know, a lot of folks like to bash cores and whatnot, but I think over the years, the cores have come to understand that they can't innovate fast enough, and they need shining objects just like everybody else, and they need to partner with fintechs for shining objects, right? And digital platforms, folks like Q2 and Alchemy and NCR Digital Insight. These are great platforms to partner with. So my advice to fintech entrepreneurs is that when you build out a solution, you build out in such a way that you can do heavyweight installs, right? The big ones for the chases of the world. And you have to carve out a path where you can do cookie cutter, lightweight install, right? That's not easy to do. It's easy to say, it's hard to do because it's a little bit of a different mindset. But when you build your system, you build it to scale, obviously. You build it to scale, but you got to be able to scale in multiple ways of light install and heavy install.
Yeah, I agree. That's very much what we did at Gizio. And that is advice that Paul Fiore gave Sean Pete and me out in Palo Alto in 2009.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's a good name. Those are great names right there. Yeah. Absolutely.
Not to sound old, but those were the good old days in many ways. They were fun times.
Yeah.
They were fun times. Listen, I appreciate all your time today. I know you're busy. I'll post your LinkedIn information down below. I think most people that watch this know you, but you know, somebody may want to reach out. Some entrepreneur may have a great idea, and reach out to either one of us, and maybe we can collaborate on something down the road. But it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely delightful. Anytime, Brian. Very, very, very pleased to have this opportunity to connect up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.